Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why sometimes you are super patient and other times you just want everything right now? Well, a new study dug into how our brains change as we get older and how that affects our choices, especially when it comes to waiting for something good. Imagine you have a choice: get a small treat right now, or wait a little longer for a much bigger treat. This is a classic example of delay discounting. We all do it, but how we do it changes a lot as we grow up, especially during those wild teenage years. Scientists have been trying to figure out what is going on in our brains that makes us more or less patient. Is it that we're better at controlling ourselves? Do we think more about the future, or maybe we just remember things differently? This study aimed to answer just that, looking at a bunch of different Brainy skills to see which ones explain why we become more patient as we get older. The researchers brought together 159 young people from age 10 all the way up to 20. They had them play a game where they had to make choices between getting a smaller reward right away or a bigger reward later. They did this for different amounts of money, like $20 and $200. At the same time, they tested several of these Brainy skills, like how well people could focus and remember things, that is working memory, how well they could stop themselves from doing something impulsive, that is inhibition, how much they thought about the future, that is prospection, how they felt about rewards, and even how they perceived time passing. Here is a simple breakdown of the main game. Participants were presented with choices like, would you rather have $10 today or $20 in 1 week? They did this over and over with different amounts of money and different waiting times. The cool part is that their choices helped the game figure out what amount of money right now would feel just as good as a larger amount in the future. This is called their indifference point. They calculated this for both the $20 and $200 reward amounts. Think of it like finding the sweet spot where waiting for a bit seems worth it. Then came the brain tests. For working memory, they played the version of the NBAC game where you have to remember if the current image matches one from a few steps ago. For thinking about the future, they used a questionnaire called the Future Orientation Scale, asking how much people plan ahead. They also tested inhibition with a Stroop task, where you have to say the color of the word, not the word itself, which is tricky. They even had participants rate how long time felt and how much money meant to them. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. They used a special kind of analysis called a directed acyclic graph, or DAC. Imagine it like a map of how different things connect. They wanted to see if age influenced these Brainy skills, and then if those Brainy skills in turn influence how people made their delayed reward choices, especially whether it mattered if it was a $20 or a $200 reward. This helped them figure out which skills were doing the heavy lifting in making someone more patient. So, what did they find? First, they confirmed what many other studies have shown. As people get older, they generally become more patient. They are more willing to wait for a bigger reward. But here is a twist. This tendency to wait more for bigger rewards actually got stronger with age. While younger participants were somewhat more patient for the $200 rewards compared to the $20, this difference really stood out in the older participants. This figure visually shows that the gap in patience between the $20 and $200 choices got wider as people got older. It's like the stakes of the decision started to matter more and more as they matured. But the big question was, why do these changes happen? They found that different Brainy skills were important for different situations. For the smaller $20 decisions, it was mostly about thinking about the future, or prospection. The more people in the study could orient their thoughts to the future, the more patient they were with the $20 rewards. This makes sense if you can vividly imagine what that $20 will get you later. Waiting might feel easier. But for the bigger $200 decisions, it was working memory that played a key role. Working memory is like your brain's temporary workspace where you hold and manipulate information. The better your working memory, the more patient you tended to be when a larger amount of money was on the line. This suggests that for bigger stakes, you need that mental space to really process the numbers and the time, weigh the options, and make a more considered decision. And here is another interesting part: how people perceived time passing was important for both the $20 and $200 decisions. They found that as people got older, their sense of time seemed to compress. Things felt like they were happening faster. This compressed time perception actually helped older people be more patient. It's like if time feels like it's flying by, a delay doesn't seem as long, making it easier to wait. So the study suggests a couple of cool things. For younger people, waiting for delayed rewards might feel harder because time just seems to drag on. For older people, especially teenagers and young adults, different strategies seem to kick in. For those $20 decisions, thinking about the future, planning and imagining seems to help. But for those bigger $200 decisions, it's more about using that working memory to juggle the information and make a more deliberate, patient choice. It's like their brains are learning to adapt their strategies based on how much is at stake. Now, like all studies, this one has some limitations. The participants were all from the United States and had access to computers and the internet. So, the findings might not apply to everyone everywhere, especially those who can't easily participate in online studies. Also, this was a cross-sectional study, meaning they looked at people at one point in time. It would be even cooler to follow the same individuals as they grow up to see how these changes unfold in real time. But overall, this research gives us a fantastic glimpse into how our decision-making powers mature. It shows that becoming more patient isn't just one thing. It is a combination of developing different cognitive skills, like thinking about the future and having a better working memory, and how we use these skills can change depending on whether we're deciding on a small treat or a big reward. It highlights how adolescence is this crucial period where our brains are rewiring to help us make more considered and patient choices. What do you think about these findings? Does this resonate with your own experiences? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more insights into the amazing world of psychology. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.